There are seasons when faith continues, but reassurance disappears. You don't feel comforted, you don't feel guided, you don't feel the quiet confirmations you once relied on. And yet, you're still here. You pray without warmth. You believe without relief. You trust God without any signal that He's responding. This kind of faith is rarely talked about. It's not dramatic. It doesn't look like doubt or rebellion. It looks like obedience without reward. You keep trusting not because it feels good, but because letting go would feel worse. There's a subtle ache in that space, the ache of walking forward without reassurance. No inner peace to lean on, no emotional signposts along the way, just silence. And slowly a question forms, not out of anger, but out of weariness. If God is with me, why does this feel so lonely? The absence of reassurance can make faith feel exposed. You realize how much you depended on feelings to carry you, how much comfort helped you believe. Now, without those supports, trust feels heavier, more deliberate, more costly. From the outside, nothing looks wrong. You still believe the right things. You still show up. You still carry faith with you. But inside, there's no confirmation, no sense of arrival, no emotional reward. If that's where you are right now, this moment is not here to fix that tension. It's here to name it. Because trusting without reassurance does not mean trusting wrongly. And walking without comfort does not mean walking alone. Sometimes faith continues not because it is carried, but because it chooses to remain. Trust without reassurance creates a very specific kind of pain. It's not panic, it's not despair, it's a quiet strain that builds over time. You wake up and choose faith again, even though nothing inside you feels settled. You pray, not because you feel close to God, but because prayer has become an act of endurance. There is no inner peace to confirm that you're doing the right thing, no calm voice saying you're on the right path, just the discipline of continuing, and that wears on the soul. You may feel tired in ways that rest doesn't fix, emotionally alert, spiritually alert, always listening for reassurance that never comes. This kind of fatigue often brings hidden questions, not loud doubts, but quiet wondering. How long can I keep trusting like this? Is faith supposed to feel this empty? Why does trusting God feel harder now than before? There's also a subtle sense of isolation, because it's difficult to explain this kind of faith to others. If you say you're struggling, people assume you're losing belief, but you're not. You still trust God. You're just doing it without comfort. That can make you feel misunderstood, even in spiritual spaces. And then there's guilt. Because you think you should feel grateful, you should feel peace, you should feel something, but you don't. So you carry it quietly, you keep believing quietly, you move forward quietly. This block exists to say this clearly: trusting without reassurance is still trust. Feeling no comfort does not cancel faith, it refines it. If your faith feels heavy but intact, if you're trusting God without emotional support, if reassurance is gone but obedience remains, you are not failing. You are walking through a demanding, unseen season of faith. When reassurance disappears, silence becomes louder. Not because God has changed, but because the way we experience Him has. Silence often feels personal, as if God has chosen not to speak, as if trust is being tested without explanation. But silence is not a sign of distance. Throughout Scripture, silence appears in seasons of formation, not abandonment. It strips away emotional feedback and leaves something quieter behind: trust without support. God does not always remain silent because something is wrong. Sometimes He remains silent because something is being built. Reassurance can carry faith for a time, but it can also become something we lean on more than God Himself. When reassurance is removed, faith must learn to stand on presence alone. Silence teaches us to trust without evidence, to obey without confirmation, to remain without reward. This is uncomfortable, Because we prefer faith that feels affirmed. We prefer prayer that responds. But God's silence does not mean he is disengaged. It often means he is closer than reassurance can communicate. Silence is where faith shifts from sensation to substance, from feeling supported to being supported. Not every relationship is loud. Not every form of care is visible. God does not speak simply to soothe us. Sometimes he stays quiet to stay near, without distraction, without noise. If God feels silent right now, it does not mean you are unseen. It may mean you are being trusted with a deeper kind of faith. Silence is not absence. It is another form of presence, one that does not rely on reassurance to remain real. This is where Psalm 23 enters, not to explain the silence, but to walk inside it with you. The Lord is my shepherd. A shepherd does not rely on constant reassurance. He relies on presence. Sheep are not guided by explanations. They are guided by closeness. Psalm 23 does not begin by promising answers. It begins by naming relationship. The shepherd does not speak loudly from a distance. He walks near. He leads quietly. He stays within reach. He leads me beside still waters. Still waters are not dramatic. They do not rush. They do not demand emotion. They simply allow the soul to stop straining. Psalm 23 does not say the sheep always feel led. It says they are led, even when reassurance is absent, even when the path feels unclear, even though I walk through the valley. The psalm does not deny difficulty. It does not rush through the valley. It acknowledges that some paths are walked without comfort, and then it says something subtle but decisive. You are with me, not you explain, not you reassure, not you remove the valley. You are with me. Psalm 23 reframes faith in silence. It shifts trust away from emotional confirmation and anchors it in companionship. The shepherd does not leave when reassurance disappears. He stays when noise fades. Psalm 23 does not interrupt your quiet season. It joins it. And sometimes the deepest form of guidance is not being told where you're going, but knowing you're not walking alone. This is a moment to stop straining. You don't need to understand where the path is leading. You don't need reassurance to continue walking. Faith is allowed to rest even when clarity is missing. Take a slow breath, not to calm yourself, but to let your body know it can soften. Nothing needs to be solved right now. Nothing needs to be proven. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are not abandoned. Trust does not always feel peaceful. Sometimes it feels quiet, steady, and unresolved. That does not make it weak. It makes it real. Psalm 23 does not ask you to feel safe. It tells you that you are safe, even when you don't sense it. Let the need for reassurance loosen its grip. Let trust exist without explanation. You are allowed to remain without clarity. You are allowed to believe without comfort. You are allowed to pause without answers. Stay here for a moment. Let the silence stop feeling like pressure and start feeling like space. You are still being led. You are still being held, not loudly, not urgently, but faithfully. If this moment reached you quietly, remain close. Not everything in faith needs to resolve today. Some things are meant to remain open, gently, patiently. Psalm 23 does not rush you towards certainty. It walks with you in trust, even when reassurance is absent. You don't need to feel confident to continue. You don't need to feel peace to remain faithful. Trust does not end because reassurance fades. Often it begins there. The shepherd does not step away when the path grows quiet. He stays close, steady, unseen, faithful. This journey is not meant to be walked all at once. It unfolds one step at a time. If today felt heavy, let it be heavy. If tomorrow feels the same, remain. Faith that continues without reassurance is not weak faith. It is deep faith. Stay close. Let the shepherd set the pace. We will continue quietly, faithfully, together.